remember what your ancestors were doing 899 generations ago? Heck, I don't even remember what my grandpappy was doing at this point in his life. Do you? They have perfect holographic memory. In fact, by looking at their models, they found out that memory was controlled by holographs, or holographic memory. Literally, I know you've heard, if you take a hologram and you split it up, it's the same and it's the same and it's the same. That only goes for 899 generations. It's not true at the 900th generation. The same with mushrooms. So that gives us kind of a proof that it's holographic in nature. But here is a very interesting, I'm just going to take a few minutes to look at this. This is actually a picture on the wall of a mycologist at MIT. And he was going out for lunch with his buddy. And his buddy was a computer scientist. And the mycologist was on the phone, so he waited around his lobby, he's looking at this, and when he came out and says, I thought you were studying mushrooms. I didn't know you were studying the internet. He says, what do you mean? He says, I've been mapping the internet for the last 12 years, and you got my map on your wall. Where'd you get it? He says, that's not a map of the internet. That's a map of various mycelium mats. And they looked at each other, and they realized they were the same. Oh my God. Gaia had an internet service way before we had our internet service. In fact, our internet service is just a copy of the mycelium mats around the planet. And they're communicating with each other as a level of consciousness. Part of the consciousness of our planet is this mycelium mat. Now, I'm not the only one who thinks this. In fact, apparently, that's how the whole level of consciousness transfers in the avatar. Now notice, as you can see, that these ponytails are connected to a mycelium mat on the planet. And they're going through a ceremony. This is to be able to change levels of consciousness. Don't those look like mycelium? They're the Iwa tree. See the mycelium coming up from the planet and connecting with her?
The great mother may choose to save all that she is in this body.
Is that possible?
She must pass through the eye of Ewa and return. But she explained.
The hole in the consciousness of the ball game. The ceremony. We're just watching videos here. So that's literally part of the process. And I'm suggesting, and obviously we can go on with this, but literally that connecting to the planet was a process that the avatars used in Pandora to be able to communicate their levels of consciousness and transfer consciousness. I'm suggesting that's a stage we're going through. So the process that we have to do in this next little while is connect. and connect deeply. It doesn't matter what we connect to. It doesn't matter what religion or what faith or what nuance we connect to. We just have to connect. But in that process of connecting, we have to live a few things out. We want to do ritual around it. We want to connect deeply with it. We want that connection to go to Iwa, Gaia, Ashti, Puchamama, Pachamama. We want to communicate with the planet because we're the receptor site of our planet. We also want to connect to our Father, the sky, the grandfather, son, and the great-grandfather center of the galaxy, Humnaku. And by having that connection and just being a conduit, we can go through the portal to the golden age. And we can live for 1,000 years. Now, I'm suggesting that medicinal mushrooms do that. Because they've lived in that mycelium mat their whole time. And some of the things we know about the medicinal mushrooms is they can fix cancer, asthma, AIDS, viral infection, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, the side effect of radiation and chemotherapy. We use them in our clinic on a daily basis for all kinds of things. They help us connect to our planet. They work with overall energy, athletic feats, intellectual challenges, environmental stress, and the herbs of longevity. We now know the chemicals that do it. We can work through all that physiology. But literally, what they do is help us connect. This is my favorite mushroom, reishi or ling chi. We're almost out?
All right.
Okay. It's my favorite. In fact, my granddaughter is named Reishi, and I wrote a book on it once. And the book was called Herb of Spiritual Potency and Medical Wonder. It's now presently out of print. One of the bylines the Chinese used for this was reishi protects an academic from their own brain when they think too damn much. Not a literal translation, but you got the idea. If you think too much, you're not going to make it through the eye of Iowa. You have to not be the mosquito, you need to be the elephant. Some of us get in our head too much and we're this way. We don't need psychedelic mushrooms to go this way. We need anti-psychedelics to bring us down into our body, feel our heart, and work this way. Another byline for reishi is it gets rid of the knot in your chest. It opens up your heart channels. And it helps you connect. Because of this, I was giving it to a lot of academics for a period of time, and this is back in the mid-90s. I'd given it to this one professor at U of C, a history professor, and after he came back a month later, says, how did it work for you? He says, oh my God, it's like an extra half hour's worth of meditation every day. It literally grounds me. Meditation in a bottle. Do you think there's a marketplace for that? I'm not suggesting you shouldn't meditate. Of course you should meditate, but by taking this mushroom, it calms your mind. By the way, it's the elixir of longevity in China. They say if you take it early enough, you get to live for 10,000 years. So we know there's no long-term side effect of taking it a long time except for living for 10,000 years. And I think I'm going to stop around the 9,000 year mark because I might get bored. As I say, it strengthens your heart and your lungs. That's been shown. And there's literally over 1,000 scientific papers written on this mushroom now. It controls blood cholesterol. It strengthens your heart, works on asthma. I don't think I've seen a patient since the early 90s that has AIDS, chronic fatigue syndrome, or fibromyalgia, or cancer, colitis that I haven't used this mushroom for because it works quite a bit. It's the most common herb that I use. And I thought I knew an awful lot about it. I wrote a book on it. It had been translated in a couple languages. It was selling all around the world. And I was really thrilled I finally found a herb I knew about. Till I met this guy. Now, it's a long explanation of how I met this guy, but save it to say, this is a shaman who lives in the Amazon jungle who saved my life at one point in time. He's very cool. He saved my life. And when I was going into anaphylactic shock. So I really like him. He's an ayahuasca-teer. And so he works on the other realms of being able to work with these things. But I was being able to work with him for a period of time. And during the mid-90s, I was really traveling a lot. I was representing companies from all over the world. And literally, I was gathering a lot of frequent flyer points. I was also a single parent during that period of time, raising my 3 kids. And lack of better words, they were mostly being raised by housekeepers, nannies, and people like that. Sure, I'd see them once in a while in passing, but so once a year or so, I had so many frequent flyer points, I'd take them anywhere in the world they wanted to go. I remember that year, my two sons, they wanted to go to Las Vegas, and we went into the virtual reality pits, and that was pretty cool, I'll tell you. Being able to throw thermonuclear devices at your parents is pretty good family therapy. Of course, I got my own thermonuclear device I could throw at them, so we went down there. But my daughter, Ayana,